uh, everybody has their own way of thinking. Not nobody really knows exactly who's gonna go where. The only consensus, in my opinion, is Cam Ward.
Yeah,
Every other person, I believe the Browns and the Giants will go either Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter. I don't think Shedeur is going to go in the top three. Just the way that it's looking right now, and just hearing what I'm hearing about Travis Hunter and how dynamic he is. I remember Dan Orlovsky yesterday when they were talking about the pro day for Colorado. He mentioned that, hey, after Cam Ward is off the board, like I'm going Travis Hunter.
mm,
He said, I don't care if I need a quarterback. I'm going Travis Hunter. And I just saw something recently that Travis Hunter from Bleacher Report, it says Travis Hunter is leaning towards wide receiver.
oh, I thought he was going to enter as a corner.
And in the middle of the college football season, we talked about this and how like what position should he play in the NFL. And I was leaning more towards cornerback, but I understand the thought process of, well, going to be a wide receiver because the money, it's just so much more money at this point. You're getting paid, wide receivers getting paid 30, 35 M's, close to $40 million. So I can understand why Travis Hunter would go to that route. And then everything I've been hearing from Todd McShay to Dan Orlovsky to all these people and how talented Travis Hunter is, and then seeing Steve Smith at the pro day talking glowingly about Travis Hunter, it seems like Travis Hunter, I wouldn't be mad if he goes to wide receiver because he's immensely talented in either position, and at his size, his speed, his athleticism, his ball skills, I believe he'll be fine at wide receiver.
Yeah, he'll definitely be a Pro Bowl level at wide receiver because we seen in all the car that boy was giving out crazy work to every DB.
He's
Twitched
immensely
up, can
talented.
run routes. Hands are phenomenal. His body control is crazy. Um, he doesn't drop many passes or any balls at all. So he always gets separation just because he's just that good. I think it don't at this point. It don't matter what position he plays. I think he'll be a Pro Bowl level at either one.
And that's what makes him a generational talent is the fact that you're fine with him playing either position. Doesn't really matter what position he chooses, you'll be fine.
Exactly.
But if you're a team that is heavily needed at corner, then you probably like, hey, I would really like for you to play corner, especially if you already have decent enough wide receivers. But
Honestly, if somehow, some way, Travis Hunter does flip the four, the Patriots get a win-win. They're like, hey, you want to play corner? Hey, we got Gonzo on the other side. You want to play wide receiver? Good, because we ain't got no we could pair you up Stephon Diggs. You know what I'm saying? When he get healthy, so I think either way they get a huge W.
I will say Dan Orlovsky did talk about how you can utilize Travis Hunter more as a wide receiver compared to a corner because teams can game plan to not throw at the direction of a corner and pretty much have that corner out of the game most of the time. While with the wide receiver, you can scheme them to get open, to make plays, and they won't be out of the offense, out of the game compared to a corner who is just not thrown towards. But then I could also say, well, yeah, that's true. But if he's a shutdown corner, that means he's pretty much taken away half of the field.
Exactly.
That's still very valuable. But I understand what he's talking about because at the end of the day, you want as much value from Travis Hunter as possible. And if you feel like him at wide receiver gives you the most value versus him at cornerback, I can understand that logic. So I believe he's just so talented, and he's one of the best. He has some of the best hands in the draft. He's up there with Matthew Golden. He's up there with you. You can just name your pick. I think he might have the best hands in the draft. Just if
I
you,
think Golden, and Tet have the best hands.
I think he might have better hands than both of them. Just watching the games, seeing what I've seen, he's made some of the most difficult catches of the college football season. I think he has the best hands in the draft. He's taller than Matthew Golden. He's faster than Tech McMillan. I think he runs better routes than Tech McMillan.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I might have to go with Dan
My
Orlovsky.
thing is about the whole. Okay, so if you let's say you're the Giants, you're the GM of the Giants.
Yeah,
You are picking at 3. The board goes Cam Ward, then Abdul Carter at 2 to the Browns. You're Joe Schoen, or however you pronounce that man's
Joe
name.
Shane, I think it is.
Yeah, Joe Shane, whoever you pronounce his name. You are at 3. You're looking at Shedeur or Travis. Now, do you pass on the generational talent to get your possible QB for the future? Or do you take the generation, or do you go BPA, take Travis Hunter, and we'll figure out QB another year, maybe next year? What do you do?
I think here's my way of thinking. If I'm the GM, do I think this team will win a bunch of games next year? Do I believe this team will be in the top 5 next year? Because if your answer is yes, if you believe this team will be in the top 5 next year, then I'll just say screw it and I'll go Travis Hunter. But if you don't think, let me rewind real quick because that makes no sense. Because the QB draft next year is awful. So what I'm saying is that, are you sure you want to hold off on a QB? Because next year the QB draft is worse, in my opinion. So I might have to just go with Shedeur, bro. Like, I'm not taking my chances. I have to go with Shedeur because at the end of the day, QB is the most valuable position in the NFL. Travis Hunter is an amazing talent, but his value is not even close of a good QB. So I would go QB. Maybe if you can trade down, it could be a possibility, but I have to go with a QB at this point. I have to go with Shedeur. Because I don't want to take that chance of next year we're in the same situation where we don't have a QB and we're in a worse quarterback draft. So I just think it's too much of a risk.
Now, if I was the Giants GM, if I'm trying to win, if I pitch the plan like, listen, all right, we're gonna take Travis Hunter. We may slum it for this year, maybe next year. 2027, we're gonna have some dudes coming out. You're gonna have most likely Arch Manning, Dylan Raiola, DJ Lagway, probably some other guys.
Probably some other guys, but those are the guys you mentioned. Yeah,
exactly. You gonna have your pick of the litter at QB in 27. But if you want to win now, I have no problem selecting Shedeur. But since NFL GMs, they gotta win ASAP and produce ASAP, the Giants already on thin ice.
Yeah,
I would select Shedeur. If I had the opportunity to take what I deem to be a franchise QB, caliber QB, I'm gonna just take him. Travis Hunter, phenomenal talent, but what's the point of having a generational wide receiver and your QB isn't figured out, you know?
They had one, remember? 10 years ago. And they stunk.
Yep. Odell.
And they ended up messing up his career. He was on a Hall of Fame trajectory, but because the offensive line stunk, the QB play was awful, they couldn't get over the hump, and eventually he just burnt out and they had to trade him away. So why do you want to be in the same predicament you were 10 years ago with Odell Beckham? I just think it's a mistake. You're pretty much making the same bad mistakes that you did 10 years ago. I think with this new group, with the coach Brian Dable, who's on thin ice, I believe you have to go with a quarterback. You have to give him something that he can work with, because he has been working with some of the worst QB play in the NFL ever since he took over as the coach for the New York Giants. Daniel Jones, like, come on, man, what do you expect him to do? And he overachieved. They won 9 games and a playoff game with Daniel Jones as quarterback. You need to give him a real QB in that QB room. And Russell Wilson is not going to cut it. We already know Russell Wilson. He'll give you half a season, and that's about it. So let's be honest. Let's give Brian Dable real hope. Let's get the Giants fans real hope, because they've been just
in the mud,
in a horrible situation for the past 15 years. Ever since they won the Super Bowl, it has been going downhill. You have to give them hope. Travis Hunter is an amazing talent, but I don't believe that really changes anything for them. I don't think that really changes anything for just the fan base's hope and enthusiasm for the future of the team.
True. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that.
What? Oh yeah. So just moving on over. Speaking of Shedeur Sanders, everything that I've heard from NFL analysts the previous few days is literally what I've been talking about. Just him as a decision maker, his accuracy in the pocket, his ability to push the ball downfield. I thought it was interesting, Dan Orlovsky saying that Shedeur Sanders is probably the hardest quarterback to evaluate because of the offense at Colorado, which is they didn't push the ball down the field a whole lot. It was a lot of 5 to 15-yard routes. But if you watch the games, moments where he needed to push the ball down the field, he pushed the ball down the field, and he was deadly accurate with it. He could make tight window throws. It's just all about, okay, in the limited amount of times that he had to push the ball down the field, was he able to do it? And the answer is correct. Was he able to stand in the pocket and deliver the football when there's pressure coming to his face? Like, yes, obviously he stood in the pocket. He was deadly accurate. I do think that he does to hold the ball a little bit too much, but there are times where his offensive line has failed him. And Dan Orlovsky and other NFL analysts have acknowledged the fact that his offensive line wasn't the best. I think another thing that we have to remember about Shedeur is that him and his father were able to take a dying program and bring it back to relevancy, which is very hard to do. Literally, they were the worst team in the Pac-10 when there was a Pac-10. And
you mean
they
12?
moved. No. Remember, it was the Pac-10, and then the next year they moved to the Pac-12. No, the Big 12.
Oh, okay, I get it.
So the worst team in the Pac-10, they took over that team. Didn't have the best season. Shedeur was still good. He was still deadly accurate, still efficient. Next year they went to the Big 12, and they were a top 25 program. They competed, I think it was against BYU. Didn't have the best game. It was these bowl games. A lot of times these teams they don't have their best players playing, or they don't try as hard enough. So, but still, they were able to turn around a program, and now they're one of the better programs in college football. That is very difficult to do, and we have to applaud that.